So far, no one has come forward as a witness, so police are turning to the public to try to help solve this crime. Marcy Jones is live now with the latest on this for us.
Guys, as you just mentioned, Mark, police say the biggest challenge in this case is that nobody is coming forward and saying, look, this is what happened. This is what I saw. They're desperate for information. That's why they're turning to the public, saying if you know anything that can put this guy behind bars, to come forward. A young life ended too soon.
Mr. McDonald had been shot, and he was deceased in some landscaping near the Knights Inn.
According to police, Deshaun McDonald was celebrating his 26th birthday at Jaguars Club when just before midnight, he got up and stepped outside.
At that point, his friends didn't think anything of it, and they didn't understand or know why he was leaving, and so they continued with the celebration.
After some time had passed, Deshaun's friends started to worry. That's when the night took a tragic turn.
And at the same time, somewhere in there, club patrons reported hearing shots fired in the parking lot.
That's when Deshaun was found shot to death. Friends of the local rap artist, also known as D-Mac Deluxe, says that they're devastated. One of them tells us he was an amazing person. I've known him for 10 years. All he wanted to do was make music and make other people happy. Now police are asking for the public's help in solving this murder.
And somebody out there has some cell phone footage, most likely either of the incident before it occurred or after it occurred, that will lend some evidence and some credence to what we're looking into so that we can help identify this suspect or suspects and get them off the street.
And of course, police are saying that if anybody has any information, definitely come forward. You're asked to call police or silent witness. They say they're also looking into if any of these surrounding businesses have any kind of cameras that they could possibly go through that footage and see exactly what happened and led up to this tragedy. Reporting live, Marcy Jones, Fox 10 News.
Marcy, thanks. A developing story of a shooting at another nightclub. This one also fatal. Glendale police telling us it happened late last night in the parking lot of the Sevens Lounge nightclub. This is near 80th Avenue in Glendale. Police say 45-year-old Lamar Thomas was shot and taken to the hospital where he later died. Glendale police haven't released any information on a possible suspect just yet. If you know anything about this case, call Glendale police.
And a driver is shot at last night in what may be a case of road rage along the I-10. The man wasn't hurt after someone allegedly shot at him from another car on the freeway. The man was headed westbound on the I-10 between the I-17 and State Route 51, ended up exiting at 7th Avenue. And DPS says that's when the suspect allegedly rolled down the passenger side window and fired a shot. The suspect is described as a woman who was driving a white Kia. DPS says it's not clear what led up to the shooting. The incident remains under investigation.
A rescue off Papago Mountain this afternoon. The victim, a 41-year-old man, had been crying out for help for 2 hours before someone heard him. Phoenix Fire says the man was free climbing and fell into a crevice.
And that means we could now see some activity right here in the valley. I'll step out of the frame so you can see better here. Most of the activity you'll notice through Sierra Vista, up into parts of Tucson and Santa Rosa. But like we heard in that alert just moments ago, that dust storm warning as those cells start to climb closer, I should say, into the northern sections of Maricopa County and the northern sections of Pinal County and the southern sections of Maricopa County. Take a look at the strength of some of the cells that we're seeing moving through here. Pockets of very heavy rain approaching Maricopa from the south. The rest of the activity that we're seeing out there, though, isolated to the northern sections of Arizona. And that chance for rain is going to continue tonight into tomorrow. But a real quick look for you at the rainfall totals from yesterday into today. 24-hour rainfall totals. We're looking at about 3/4 of an inch for Wickenburg, about 1/2 an inch in Peoria and Scottsdale, close to 3/10 of an inch for New River, Sun City West, and for Surprise. So some soggy conditions out there. And the next couple of days, though, we'll see some changes. So I'll update you about that in just a couple minutes. Guys?
Christy, thanks. A news alert. A lot of Louisiana remains underwater on this Sunday after massive storms hit a week ago today. At least 13 people have died in the flooding that swept through parts of southern Louisiana. Those torrential rains really hit the region hard last weekend. responded to the attack by shelling a Gaza town. Palestinian sources say 2 people were wounded by the Israeli strikes.
Dust moving into the valley as we speak. That chance for it making it right here to Phoenix. It's a possibility. We'll talk about that coming up in just a couple minutes.
Fox 10 AccuWeather forecast with Dave, Corey, and Christy. All day on the Valley's #1 for new country station, 102.5 KNIX. Fox 10 News is brought to you by AA.
Opportunity sales event. Lease the 2016 NX Turbo with 0 due at signing for $409 a month for 36 months and we'll make your first month's payment. See your Lexus dealer.
You're watching the best Fox 10 News.
And we have a live picture right now from an ADOT camera. Look at this. This is the I-10 westbound at Chandler. All that dust rolling on through. Christy told us about it earlier, making its way on into the valley. And boy, visibility out there is really diminished. Hard to see.
Some people going to our Facebook page and showing us what it's like to drive into that. Please remember the safety tips for driving in a dust storm if you do have to go out in this. First advice is just stay home. I mean, look at that. It's like pea soup. You don't even want to risk it. But you pull as far to the right as you can get. You turn off your lights, put off the brake.
And look at that. See the cars coming under the overpass there? You can't see their headlights until they're almost through it. So that just shows you, I mean, visibility is really low out there right now. So be very careful.
Please do. Well, this blew up fast.
Yeah, and when this warning first came out, it was just for Pinal County, and then it spilled over into Maricopa. For Pinal right now, that's in effect just until 6, but Maricopa in effect till 7. So you can see it's only 5:20 right now. So still a period of time that's pretty large for Maricopa that we could still see the effects of this blowing dust. Now, just like Mark and Linda said, you know, we love to see your pictures, we love to see your video, but by all means, be safe out there. That's our #1 priority. If you're over to the side of the road, standing in your front yard, great, send us a picture. But otherwise, you'll notice this is a significant amount of dust blowing through the valley tonight. Parts of Casa Grande seeing some of that moisture right now, and it's in fact these thunderstorms and the outflows from them that we're starting to see that blowing dust from. We're not seeing any rain in the valley quite yet, but the possibility of that in the picture for the next couple of hours. Of course, be tracking that for you. Right now, about 100 degrees at Sky Harbor. Very calm winds, although it is windy in those areas where we are seeing the blowing dust. Straight line winds within those areas. Otherwise, the weather picture, well, it's going to change the next couple days as we see this low that was off the west coast moving into Arizona. That's going to make us dry. That's going to make us warm. But we do have enough instability still out there tonight that there is that potential for some storms. So we took a look at the wide shot earlier of the state. In addition to the dust storm warnings for Pinal and Maricopa counties, it's also not great air quality out there. This air quality warning was out many hours ago before that dust warning was in effect. So you can only imagine how bad the air quality is now with all that blowing dust. So if you can avoid stepping outside tonight, if you can limit your use of your car, certainly do. That warning's in effect until 9 o'clock this evening. In terms of temps, we're anywhere from 77 in Prescott right now to upper 50s for the Grand Canyon, 90 into Safford, 73 degrees for Tucson, and in triple digits for Yuma. Across the valley, here's a look at those numbers, ranging anywhere from mid-90s in Apache Junction, looking at 97 for Buckeye and Goodyear, 100 for Ahwatukee, Deer Valley at 96 degrees. Now, this moisture profile has changed just in the past hour or so. We saw a lot of 50s for the dew points throughout southern Arizona. You'll notice those have inched a little bit into the 60s tonight. As we make our way farther to the north, a little bit drier. Numbers in the 40s there, in addition to some numbers in the 50s. With the rain moving through, we get the rain-cooled air. We've seen these significant temperature changes yesterday into today because of that. The pockets of rain moving from southern Arizona, and additionally the rain that we've seen moving through parts of northern Arizona, accounting for those large temperature differences. With the storms out there today, much cooler weather. We only made it to 100 degrees at Sky Harbor. Typical temp is 104 for today, ways off from the record temperature of 110. You've seen those incredible images coming out of Texas. Just outside of Houston, already 9 inches of rain have fallen, and you'll notice on our wide shot here of the SAT-RAD, we're not done with that moisture yet. Still tapping into some of that moisture from the Gulf Coast. Those showers continuing through parts of the Tennessee Valley, climbing into parts of New England, where we're going to see much cooler temperatures as a result. For Arizona tonight, temps will drop anywhere from upper 50s in Payson to 81 for Lake Havasu, 83 for Yuma. We'll see 62 into Douglas, 69 for Page, and 66 for Kingman. Tomorrow still hanging on to the triple digits for some spots like Yuma, Lake Havasu, Bullhead City close to 100, 73 degrees for Show Low, 68 Flag, and then 88 degrees for Douglas. So tonight, partly cloudy conditions, keeping that slight chance of thunderstorm activity in the valley. For tomorrow, that's where we're going to see a mix of sunshine and cloud cover. Around 100 degrees expected at Sky Harbor, maybe some upper 90s and other spots across the valley. Then we continue with that drying trend, as I mentioned. Numbers climbing a little bit into your Tuesday and your Wednesday. Otherwise, guys, looks like we're going to get a little bit of a break from the monsoon. I'll keep you updated on social media about that blowing dust at Christy S. Fox 10 or Christy Siefkin if you're checking out on Facebook. Back to you.
Christy, thanks. Up next, 6 scientists calling this dome their home for nearly a year. The conditions they went through for the love of science.
Weeknights at 10:30 on Fox 10.
I'm Fire from El Pollo Loco, where I fire grill the chicken for our new overstuffed quesadillas. And why do we fire grill all of our delicious chicken, Oscar? Tell me.
Well, to bring out all the flavors.
Bingo!
We've been showing you the dust blowing through from, you know, the ADOT cams and from people's perspective. But this is Sky Fox Live, and you see it is one of those really big storms that really gathers some hype and some width as it starts rolling through, bringing a lot of blowing dust our way. So you might want to just stay indoors and just and wait for it to come through.
We'll be definitely keeping an eye on that for you tonight. Well, players from more than 35 countries compete in the 2016 World Pokemon Championships. This is going on in San Francisco this weekend.
Boy, we can't ignore this, can we? Sky Fox overhead live tonight. This is near Pinal County. There obviously is a storm system moving toward the southeast, preceded by this wall of dust. Christy always explains where this comes from, those outflow winds that just collapse and they send the dust rushing across the desert floor, and this is the result.
You know, and when you're at home watching this and you could see these areas that are being hit, and then you know it's coming towards your neighborhood, you start seeing those winds, the skies start to turn brown.
Well, we're just giving you a heads up.
Yeah.
You know, get the patio furniture in, anything that could be blown into the pool or around the yard, you might want to batten it down because this is heading your way if you're in the Southeast Valley.
There's the look from Sky Fox. Now let's check in with Christy Siefkin, getting a look at the radar and giving us a better idea of exactly where this may be going.
Yeah, Mark and Linda, we initially just saw the watches and warnings out there. And if you look closely, you can actually see those cells moving beneath that layer on our computer system here because those storm cells are approaching the valley, just as Linda mentioned. Those thunderstorms collapsing. We're seeing very strong straight line winds, anywhere from 30 to 40 mile an hour gusts associated with this system coming in a little bit closer to the valley. I'll step out so you can see that cell, pretty strong cells, I should say, pushing through Casa Grande. That's where we're seeing this activity originate, that and some of the cells a little bit farther to the north. As you get closer into the valley now, we're actually starting to see some of that thunderstorm activity right here in the valley. Take a look at this cell that you can see is just making its way over Loop 202 toward Chandler. Now, at this point, this is the only rain that we're seeing in the valley. But with that moisture continuing to inch to the south of the valley and toward the southeast valley, the potential for more dust to be kicked up. As you could see from those pictures, visibility extremely low, below a quarter mile. In fact, lower than that in many locations. I'll update you a little bit later on in the show about the rain and also, of course, about that blowing dust. Guys?
All right, Christy, thanks a lot. Another live look out there with Sky Fox. And we're going to try to talk with photojournalist Troy Barrett up in Sky Fox. Troy, can you hear us right now?
I think not. We just wanted some perspective on exactly what we're looking at, where we are. Troy, can you hear us?
Now, that's the, that's one of the microphones up there, but it's obviously not Troy right now. We'll work on getting Troy just so, he can kind of give us perspective. I can't tell if that's the Papago Buttes there on the left. I think he's farther down south than that, though, but
Exactly. But you can see, I don't know whether it's because of his perspective, I don't think it is getting any lighter, but it does seem to not be as dense as it was when we first saw it. But it's hard because we don't know what angle we're
But that is a massive storm. As you see him pan across, look at that. That is miles and miles.
Now this is the perspective
long
that we were thinking of, and easily miles high as well. And it was always, this is the kind of picture that people from the East Coast, my friends who live in New York, Boston, relatives in Louisville, they see this and they call and they start asking if we're okay. They're all like, is everybody okay there? We saw this video on the news. Are you guys okay? And I'm like, it really is just a wall of dust, although it does look epic.
So we're understanding now this is actually coming over South Mountain, and that is Sky Harbor in the foreground. You can see the tower there. Do you see the tower right about in the middle of your screen?
Yes,
that's Sky Harbor. So this, and there's a plane landing. Just look to your left there. There's a plane landing right now. So this is on its way through. I would not be surprised if we don't see a ground stop at Sky Harbor. Those planes are going to try to get on the ground as soon as they can, and the ones that were about to take off are probably going to have to hold, I would imagine, because that is going to be blowing right through there, and it obviously it's going to reduce visibility. These planes have a lot of equipment on that can get through this stuff, but if they have a chance to stay on the ground, they're not going to take off in this.
And the ones landing, I mean, we've had people, our news director ourselves, he was trying to fly in when there was a dust storm coming in, and they ended up diverting and landed in Tucson.
Yeah. And many of you may have seen Andrew Hasbin, one of our reporters, he's taking snapshots out his airplane window of the dust moving through.
Is that right now?
Yeah, his posts were just a few minutes ago, but I'm taking a look at the outflow boundary, guys, and the dust not only is moving in centrally toward the valley, toward downtown, but we're also seeing those winds pushing the dust out toward parts of Apache Junction, a little bit to the north and to the west of Maricopa. So the dust not just moving in a straight line toward downtown, but somewhat of a half circle, if you will. Many people posting pictures on social media right now of the dust moving toward downtown. It looks like over the top even of the stadium downtown. You can see some of that dust moving through. I mean, just incredible how thick and how tall this wall of dust is. Definitely those pictures, like I said, we love, but so many of you continue to post them from your cars. So if you can maybe pull over to the side. Don't drive and take those photos or videos. Many of you sending great shots, though, from your balconies, from your backyards. I mean, just incredible what we're seeing out there.
So stick around. We, of course, have people everywhere. We are getting in touch with Sky Harbor to see what impact this is having on their inbound and outbound flights. Stick around. We'll be right back.
And now, Zorn conquers dinner.
Waitress!
You guys ready?
Yeah, we're gonna both have the ribeye.
How would you like that cooked?
Not.
Actually, I'll have the veggie wrap.
That's
Continuing our live coverage on this Sunday evening of this massive wall of dust that continues to roll across the valley. Now, Skyfox has been overhead since this first really started gathering steam down in Pinal County, but this is it as it approaches the South Mountain area.
Yeah, it just came over South Mountain and then making its way on into Sky Harbor Airport. So we're checking with the airport to see what this means for flights that are inbound or outbound. We did see a few taking off, but again, we have to imagine they're going to halt that for a bit until this storm passes through. You could see when we panned over from Skyfox across this thing, it is miles long. So this is going to be affecting a huge portion of the valley. And there's downtown Phoenix right off to your right. So it's on its way. That you can see just a little bit of South Mountain left as that dust is really swallowing up the mountain and then making its way into the central part of Phoenix. Let's take a look real quick. We're seeing a lot of things on social media, including our own Andrew Hasbin, who was on vacation, flying in tonight, and he was on a plane when this all happened. Actually, he's probably still on that plane right now or just touched down. Here's a picture, and he says, aerial view of dust storm moving in over East Valley. Nice. Welcome back to AZ after a week away. And here's another picture Andrew took. There's Tempe-Town Lake right there in the foreground, ASU, and then you see that wall of dust making its way from the southern part of the valley up to the north. And finally, one more shot as he was, looks like he was heading back, pointing it towards the other part of the valley there, maybe the eastern part. I can't tell exactly, but again, we're getting a lot of images on social media from people. Let's check in with Christy right now, who's tracking this storm, letting us know where it's all headed. Christy.
And Mark and Linda, a lot of activity out there, not just the blowing dust, but we're finally seeing some of that moisture making its way to the valley. That one cell we saw moving through Chandler earlier, now it's not just that. But I want to start with a wider view to the south of us, obviously Casa Grande, and then a huge amount of moisture even farther south to this. Take a look at our sweeping radar. Look at the red, the oranges. This is just intense rainfall that started to weaken a little bit as it's inched toward the valley, as we get a little bit closer in toward the valley. Bear with me here. You're going to see a big sweep of some strong rain moving into sections of the southeast valley. There we go. Take a look at it through Chandler, and then as we move a little bit farther up to the north, we're taking a look at Tempe and Mesa. As we wait for real time, wow, look at that. It's just pouring rain over Tempe right now along 101 and 202, so just about at Tempe Marketplace. If you are trying to shop right now, you're going to need more than the umbrella. We're going to take a look at these precip rates because they're pretty significant. Storm cells popping up very quickly. Right now, precip rate for the cell moving over Tempe Marketplace, 2 and about 3/4 of an inch of rain an hour. Now, obviously, it's not going to stay isolated over that, but significant rainfall there. We continue to track the dust moving into the valley as well. You'll see the edges of that cell spilling over towards Sky Harbor, in fact. So we're not only seeing the blowing dust approaching Sky Harbor, but also seeing the very heavy rain. Likelihood that we will see these cells pop up other places in the valley as well. Visibility still low, as we talked about a little bit earlier. And guys, we'll continue to track this for you throughout the course of the show and on social media.
Well, it's not quite the dust storm, but it's a storm of sorts on the internet. Guess who's
I was surprised with where I was at, but I was also pleased with what I've been doing.
Since I've been here, the expectations, the attention, the notoriety, the respect is completely different than when I first started, and that's great. You know, we completely changed the culture, the way we're viewed, not only here locally, but now.
Skyfox right now, and you're seeing that storm moving in. That looks to be Camelback Mountain as the storm has, dust storm has made its way into the valley. Look at all that blowing dust, miles long. We're gonna have the latest coming up after the break.
All right, taking you back outside, we've got Skyfox, we've got radar, we've got weather, dust, rain, wind.
And it all hits at the end of our show.
Right.
Of course. Of it,
yeah. We're seeing it move into Central Phoenix right now. Christy, take us through what's going on right now with the radar.
Well, I want to show you guys actually this very cool graphic we have that'll show you where exactly that dust has moved. If we can go ahead and take that picture full screen, I'll show you where that dust has made its way from the south through the valley. It's rolling in somewhat of a curved shape. It's not just in a straight line. Here we go. Take a look at the red in this picture. That's where we're seeing the movement of the dust. You'll see it moves past our radar site. That arch is where we're seeing the dust roll through in real time right now. We're seeing that dust move north of 202 up toward 101, up toward 87 as well. That dense red color up through Scottsdale. That's where we're seeing very thick dust as well. Not surprising. This cell, guys, that I showed you 10-15 minutes ago, it has moved so slowly. It is just now making its way to the east of 202. So very heavy rain. The precip rate there, 2.5 to 3 inches an hour. So that area of town just absolutely getting soaked right now. That cell continuing to track to the north and the east along 87. This is really all that we're seeing out there right now in terms of moisture in the valley, but the potential for more means that we do have a severe thunderstorm warning in effect. That's going to last until 6:15, so seems like a pretty small window, but as we know, especially with slow-moving cells, a lot can happen during that period of time.
All right, let's go back to Skyfox now. Christy, you were telling us the slow-moving storm, and we're seeing this. We've been watching this dust roll in for about, what, the past half hour or so from Skyfox?
Right. It's, yeah, just been a thick cell.
So this is us just looking, I mean, I think this shot is mind-blowing because we're looking south straight down Central, and you see that wall of dust just moving and enveloping downtown Phoenix. And basically coming straight up Central as we watch it coming. We have reached out to Sky Harbor Airport, checking their social media to see if they have any ground stops or anything like that. Have not heard from them yet. Hopefully that's good news and things are maybe not business as usual. If you're heading to the airport to pick someone up or to take a flight, definitely call ahead.
As we're watching this picture, you're actually watching these buildings kind of vanish in the dust. You're going to be seeing downtown kind of becoming invisible as that wall keeps pushing to the north.
The stadium you can barely see.
Right.
Anymore.
Anymore. You can barely
to the left of your screen.
Yeah,
you can see the top of the ballpark there.
And when Skyfox had a wide shot earlier, we were able to see this wall of dust was miles long. I mean, it was going from the east part of the valley over to the base of South Mountain and beyond. So we're really talking about a majority, Christy, of the valley getting hit by this right now.
And we saw just how wide that wall of dust was. And we looked at the image of the dust moving through. It was covering all of the valley, east to west. Right now, the bulk of that dust you can see is moving to the north and to the east of us. It looks like Scottsdale will be the next area to be hit by severe rain, very heavy rain through that Tempe Marketplace area, 101, 202, if you can avoid it. And the air quality, terrible. We already had that air quality alert before any of this dust happened. Now with the additional dust, if you have any breathing problems, stay inside. It's just
same with visibility.
Right now.
Remember that. Terrible. Just wait. It will blow through. You can sit tight just for half an hour, maybe an hour. If you're in Central Phoenix and just waiting, it will move through. And then, you know, is there rain behind that? I'm always bugging her.
There is.
Is there rain behind it?
There is, Linda, and that's where we saw that cell moving through Tempe Marketplace. It was just to the south. We saw it through parts of Maricopa, and then suddenly it was dry, and then boom, that thunderstorm.
And also, we want to tell you, we're streaming these pictures from Skyfox Live on our Facebook page, so if you want to check it out, go there. We'll have it all covered for you tonight.
Take care. We'll be back at 9.
Go to fox10phoenix.com for live streaming news on your computers, smart TVs, and mobile devices. Wherever you are, whenever you want. Don't wait for news. Get news.
Making a statement.
Yefimov trying to catch King. Lily King has the...
It's cable TV.
I was wrong.
My whole life. Rated PG-13. Experience it in IMAX.
I jumped at the chance to take the DNA test through Ancestry.